saying something like a shirt with the tie-dye on your canvas. You smeared all your chakras together and now you're looking colorblind, blind leading the blind. Yeah, you know it's West winning every single time, and I'm finna go left and make a demon stand behind me. Gemini ascendant, yeah, it's hard to pick a side. Watch some bubbles sparkling like some apple cider. I don't drink lean, I ain't a dick writer. I don't really follow trends, I'd rather decide them. Poetic justice, I'd rather just write them. Tupac, all eyes on me, I kill them with kindness. Don't fuck with cowards, they bruise me spineless. Your higher power is telling you lies, bitch. You got lied too. Yeah, that's the shadow government, the G.O.D. Fall asleep trying to tell you how to be. Be yourself, just like a bumblebee. Be yourself, moving on, flower to flower. They love tracking horrors, hour by hour. Shout out 50 Cent, listen to my mini man. No, I ain't just listening to any man. I had to realize, nigga, this ain't real life. This ain't real life. Spaceship, big body, it's real wide, real wide. Swimming through these oceans, rivers and the tide. Swimming through these oceans, rivers and the tide. Swimming. I had to realize, nigga, this ain't real life. This ain't real life. Spaceship, big body, it's real wide. Spaceship. Swimming through these oceans, rivers and the tides.
Yeah, I'm saying windy every single time. I don't know how to lose. Transmute L's and the W's. Transmute all them L's, all that information, all that logic, all them lights into what? Into what is that? A heartbeat? Yeah. A wave? You know what I'm saying? So it's like that light bends in on itself to become. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So you might have had a certain idea, like these lights right here, and then that shit bend in on itself to become the circle, or what you think is a circle. You know what I'm saying? But you wouldn't even be aware of that shape if there wasn't no idea about it first. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's deep, bro. But yeah, it's gonna be a video about how I got lost into my mind, and pretty kind of like, you know, how to look at yourself properly, accountability, you know, with accountability and responsibility being more into a quote unquote an adult, which is just, you know, more of being more the adult spirit, meaning you was able to expand and contract, you know what I'm saying, enough times to develop a certain that comprehension ability. So you just know thing, right? Your spirit just know thing, observer, and then going through these experiences, because I had to realize, like, nigga, this ain't real life, right? So I had to realize, like, I'm not these things in order to be in this seat, in this position right now, to be able to look at myself clearly enough, meaning I was able to separate my awarenesses, or separate my colors, or separate my lights, or my desires, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying, whatever you want to call it. But like, I had to go through enough experiences to kind of like build up myself and raise myself up, right? Not like it's about your mentality. So your space maybe you could have been no thing. Your state of being maybe was in like quote unquote a low class state of being, for example, right? But you might have like went through all those in and outs for like not just this lifetime, but multiple lifetimes. So for any spirit or being to come and be born into this reality, and by default, like, you know what I'm saying, you be the family member in your family group or whatever, your family, but like as far as the people you grew up around, like you be the spirit that by default, like you comprehend. It's about comprehension, your ability to retain and receive, but also as well as not just receiving, but also knowing how to like push that information that you received back out in, you know, some way, shape, or form as far as how that's going to be correlated to the world and the body that you're creating, right? So it's like we're all doing certain natures first. All right, so for like I'm just kind of warming up, right? So your ability to comprehend, and you know what I'm saying, being able to like spiritually eat that, I guess maybe a space, just no thing, right? But out of that space, there might have been a certain like mentality or an awareness that came out of that state of being, right? So as like your spirit, you be creating like mentalities or these little ships or these minds to go and travel, and maybe there might be certain things in other people's pockets that you might not have created. So this is where the whole aspect of teamwork makes the dream work comes in, where it wasn't just you by yourself somewhere, just one idea. It took multiple beings that also did something similar to what you did, aka coming into being, which is not necessarily something you did by yourself, is what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? It took a team, right? And that was the Great Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Holy, holy, holy. And shit, right? Like the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension. Right? So these things aren't separate. It's like we're doing this shit right now, and then you constantly are like going into whatever mentality you just created. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever ideas, whatever thoughts and feelings be on your mind. It be playing out. So I'm just kind of looking back at my own. Well, let me break that down. Let me finish that point. Like, so you're just no thing, space, multiple space, just existence, really. And then out of it's like you singled out your own piece of that overall existence of just life, just like things just existing. Not even things, but just God or the Great Spirit. It's just existence. Like there really ain't no like you can't put nothing on it. It's just a happening. You know what I'm saying? So things happen. Like you was born, like you're here. You wasn't somewhere outside of your mother's womb, and outside of, like, because it's not like your mom and your dad are separate, but you wasn't outside of your parents already before they had to join and do the damn thing for you to pop out 9 months later, right? You didn't have to sit back and push no buttons from like already being born. You know what I'm saying? Like people be backwards, like the world be backwards. Like you wasn't already born, and then now you're trying to like be born again, but you already like see that whole. I don't even know how to think like that. The point of what I'm saying is, it takes a team. It always takes an accumulation of thoughts and feelings. So if there's a world full of already thoughts are just men and women, and feelings are just women. They're just playing out, right? And this is like a mental thing first. So for you to even be in a world where there's other thoughts and feelings, okay, you need to be able to look at yourself like, all right, well, I'm not just here in a world by myself. I got all these parts of me that make up my body. So it's not about getting lost in your body, which is just this is just the most condensed version of whatever idea, feeling, or thoughts and feelings that made up your first awareness, or your father and your mother, right? But your father is in the idea, and then all those thoughts accumulate, kind of like bend in on themselves and condense, and that's like the first layers of the idea of you joining with yourself and the type of emotions and feelings that came from that idea, or how that idea like bended in on itself to become some type of emotion or feeling. Because that's what's going on. Like you might get the idea that you're hungry, but it wasn't just the idea by itself. It was like quick, but it was like the idea, you're hungry in the lightest stage before you even consciously aware, like, okay, maybe you get a certain emotion or feeling in your stomach that like lets you know you're hungry or something, right? But that was an idea first before it even became to be that feeling in your stomach, like, oh, let me go get something to eat or something, right? And then that's you going to get something to eat is the feeling, the movement, the emotion of you reacting to that idea that you just acted on in the mind that you pushed out. And then it became like, you know what I'm saying? It became like the adrenaline, the Benedict, you know what I'm saying? To become the blood flow, to become the goddamn, all the, you know what I'm saying? The tissues and the, what becomes your organs and your whole bodily fluids and flesh and whatnot, right? As far as just the idea of you coming into being. This is some simple shit. I'm trying to make it simple. And then I'll go deeper into it, right? So it's like your father and your mother, you had an idea and a feeling that were corresponding, right? They wasn't separate. They wasn't separate thoughts and feelings because your mother and your father had to be attracted to each other in some way, shape, or form. Meaning, wherever they traveled, they spiritual travels, what they was doing and how they accumulated to be, go back to a certain, you know what I'm saying? It's like we're all doing similar things just in our own subjective bias kind of way, right? So this is just something everybody's doing like spiritually first, if you want to call it spiritual or spirituality or whatever. But that's just a term that man came up with to explain something that's just going on, that's happening, right? Something that's just people are experiencing, whether you even gave it a term or not. It's still something going on. Like you could call it 1,000 different things. It's not going to change the root meaning and reasonings as far as why that even, how that even came to be in existence beyond some humans and shit. Because you know what I'm saying? You got birds here, you got ants, you got bugs, which are like ants, you got butter, you know what I'm saying? Different creatures, fish, different. So you got different environments, aka like an ocean, which is just a body of water, but that body of water has fit, you know what I'm saying? It's like the human body is no different. Like we be having all kind of fish and little jellyfish parasites and seaweed, and you have all this shit inside of you. It's just be things that, you know, maybe not everybody be so spiritually wise about, so they don't know how to look at themselves, right? All right, let me get into it, bro. So first, me looking at myself like me getting lost in my mind, right? So first you kind of like have to talk to yourself in certain, like you got to like look back at your experiences and kind of ask yourself like, why was I even in that situation, or how did that situation come to be, right? So that's you by default putting yourself back in your spiritual pocket, just being the observer, right? You trying to like just look at things for what they are and how it came to be, not you having a bias towards either one polarity, or you think these are two separate things. No, like your mother and your father had to both be in a certain spiritual state of being, a spiritual space, to even come up with the thoughts and feelings that came out of those movements that don't really got an awareness, right? So the substance is what first gets developed, meaning your spirit, you just moving, and then it's like you leaving this tail or this trail of like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're creating that awareness has to come to be. It comes into being. It's not like you already aware somewhere sitting around like some man-made concept of like a white man God, and then you think like God is somewhere sitting on some floating cloud just creating everybody. And that's dumb, because we don't all move our arm at the same time. If one thing created everything and everybody, then we all should be doing the same thing. It's like it would defeat the whole point of uniqueness and the whole point of why we even have people that are individuals. If everybody came from some one God concept, we wouldn't be here. We'd all just be that God or something. Like, what did y'all talk about? And that ain't something you even see in reality. Like just some one being somewhere and that's it. Because then you got to ask, okay, even in that context, like what created the surroundings for that one being to be enveloped in or to be in, right? To be a God and create everybody else, and everybody comes from that first starting point. So that's debunked. You know, that's debunked. How we know this is just common sense. There's always new babies and new spirits. Spirit just meaning multiple, and like multiple spaces or whatever, multi, right? So it's like, because you're not the awareness, so you by default you're an accumulation of a bunch of spaces. If you want to use that word space, there's a lot of baggage to it, but like your space, like your spice, your ability to observe, you know what I'm saying? Your ability to like not spy on people, like you a narc somewhere, you don't know who you don't know thyself. So maybe that was a human at one point that got lost in their ego at that time, and maybe the best thoughts and feelings that they came up with at that time, as far as just trying to keep things going for maybe their business or whatever. Maybe they was trying to control a certain outcome or something, right, or a certain direction. Those beings at the time might have got lost in their ego, as if where was I going with that? Fuck. Shit. Like, all right, I'm trying. So we're creating mentalities. I'm trying to backtrack in my mind where I was just saying. Like, I remembered what I was saying, but it like kind of slipped my train of thought a little bit. So at the time, like, it could have been okay, right? So we know we in a world where it ain't just you by yourself, so where we can see new beings, new babies and stuff being born in the world. And then we also see how beings expire, or the body expires, and then you're no longer in this experience timeline or whatever. But that don't mean you stop being aware, you know what I'm saying? For example, like when you go to sleep or whatever, you got to go recharge your body or your mind at nighttime. You go to sleep. So like your dreams is you creating, your body is trying to recharge, but your dreams are like you still creating these visions and shit, these thoughts and feelings, and still trying to keep yourself going and keep creating. So that's like where that'd be the like that first kind of like lightest layer, where you're in that dream stage, that dreamscape, and whatever type of thoughts and feelings be on your mind, and because that's where you at, your mind. You ain't somewhere else, you know what I'm saying? You ain't like, say you in a relationship, both of y'all go to sleep next to each other in the same bed, but y'all both go back to y'all own world. Y'all ain't connected, like y'all finna have the same dream. You get it? Like, so it's like, that's how you know you're not just in a world where it's just one idea running everything. Like, everybody has their own mentality. Everybody has their own creative ability as far as creating thoughts and feelings. And I guess somewhere down the line, like it's kind of I don't want to say easy, but like spirits kind of get confused if you ain't, like, you know what I'm saying, if you ain't been doing this process mechanism, I guess, long enough, if you want to call it like long enough. But say spirits they ain't expanded or contracted enough, so they still in a certain like stage, if you will, stage of development, where they're still creating and developing minds and mentalities, right? That'll be maybe more sufficient for their own personal travels and spiritual journey and whatnot, right? But everybody doing different shit, like the life I done lived and the type of thoughts and feelings that was on my mind before me even being born into this body. Like, I can look at myself and look at my experiences and can kind of like, I can pretty much start like being, you know, like I could be honest with myself and look at things clearly. Now, if you somebody that you still lost in your own bias about, as far as like how you see reality, or you trying to be God, but you know what I'm saying? It's like you're not God though, but it'd be spirits like kind of disregarding where they got that awareness from, and then you start thinking you are this awareness, and then you go about that timeline of that awareness, and then you might meet certain demise, or you know what I'm saying, you might meet certain moments in that timeline that God or like life is trying to remind you, like look, child, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to remind you something. Like, first of all, you're not in control like that, and secondly, I didn't tell you to get so invested in those qualities, or in those thoughts and feelings, or in those abilities, or whatever, however you want to, like, you know what I'm saying. It could be a certain ability, it could just be a certain body part, it could be a certain bias you have. Like, you might have a certain organ that you created your solar plexus near, or you create your awareness near, as far as, I guess, quote unquote, like the if you want to call it the center of your own like universe. I hate to even go and like, no, but pretty much like what you prefer to be aware of, and what you prefer to act on, and what you was more aligned with this time around, as far as like how you correlate yourself, right? So for example, I was born in the beginning of the summertime, 7 degrees or 7 days in. So I'm like the first week of what is being called the summertime, which is just the cardinal point, or the cardinal phase of that seasonal transition, if you will, or that cycle, you know, that part of the 360, the cycle that we're all doing internally, and then we create an external representation of what we're all doing internally, aka why you might have, quote unquote, some concept of a sun or light out in the sky or in the atmosphere, and then when that 6 a.m. to like 6 p.m. transit, that's the quote unquote what we're calling the daytime shift, or your consciousness, or time to act on things and take action towards, and your masculine qualities. And then when that energy bends in on itself, it starts to become the quote unquote the nighttime, or the PM, where those ideas start to like bend in on themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now you start to like, shit, if you was working all day, you might start to feel tired, or you might start feeling like exhausted or whatever, because you had all these ideas. You know what I'm saying? You was doing all these. Say you had the idea like you was going to work, for example. Nigga, you at work accumulating all these thoughts and feelings. You might be interacting with people there, other coworkers. You might be looking around. You might be, you know what I'm saying? You might have to focus on a certain task there at work. You might have to act on things, right? Whatever the case may be. These things require a lot of the energy that you're creating. Energy is what? Just, you know what I'm saying? Something that you can't really see it. Like, it ain't something like right here, but you know, this motion that I'm doing with my hand required energy of if that's what we want to call it, right? But it really just be what? Movement or motion. So like life is always moving. Things don't stop. So that whole concept of like energy can be created but can't be destroyed. No, energy can't be created but could be destroyed. That's a false premise. Like, that's what we do, is create energy. If anything, yeah, we have a hard time destroying it, because once we made it and created it, it's there now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you get rid of that? So that'd be a lot of starting points to why people be having certain problems, if you want to call them problems, with yourself. And it really just be, you got these abilities, you got these thoughts and feelings, you got maybe certain body parts and certain organs that make up your spaceship, your vessel, your vehicle. Because this is your first vehicle. You ain't getting in no car, no train, or no plane if this body is going through like turmoil and damages and internal. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. If this body ain't correct internally and shit, and that play out externally as your image or your imagination, right? or a vision, like, oh, this guy looks, you know what I'm saying? Like people could look at me and then they catch a certain idea or whatever, based upon their vantage point, based upon their perspective, right? But we're all observing. Now, sometimes, I don't want to get sidetracked, but going back to, you create awarenesses. So it's not like spirits, you people, like, you're not these things. You're not these informations. Like, you're not these lights. Light as in weight. So like your mind is the lightest thing. Where is it at? You can't weigh it. You can't put it on a scale. You can't buy it in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got this mind, you have this awareness, because you could look, you know what I'm saying? There's you could be aware, but where is that at? You can't, where is that at? You can't weigh it, you can't grab it. You know it's there though, because you hear. Unless you're just unaware, which you're not, you can't be unaware, you hear. So it really be like, people just be, in general, like people be like, you might not relate to somebody so close or just at all, because y'all don't share similar ways of how y'all like create thoughts and feelings. Ultimately, what you be aware of be different than somebody else. Somebody could be into clothes and fashion, for example, right? Because I'm in the mall. And then shoot, if say you somebody that you go with a group of your people and whatever, some people like going shopping and looking for clothes and fashion. You might not be so interested in clothes and fashion. Your interest might be more like you might be more interested in going to play golf or some shit, right? Based upon those abilities and how your body is configured, and maybe certain arm motions and hip motions. And I'm just giving y'all an example, like, everybody be doing a similar mechanism, just in their own different like ways of how they go about that quality or that mechanism, right? So it's like we all got the ability to breathe. How I breathe, how somebody else breathes, how the bird breathes, how the wind breathes is gonna be different by default, due to just positions and whatnot, and where you at spiritually, and what type of state of being you in. So like, I could be breathing, but say I'm in a state of being of, like, I'm in some trash, garbage state of being. I might be breathing, I might think I'm outside breathing air, but if I'm in a trash state of being, I'm really breathing a whole bunch of pollution. Right? So that would be my perspective. Like, whether you consciously aware of it or not, it could be something subconscious, where your subconscious world, your internal world, is picking up on things and symbols and maybe certain informations and objects and certain food for thoughts and whatnot. But not all these things are things you even supposed to be consuming. So with that being said, I'll kind of get into my point here, like, as far as talk about myself. Just for example, like the type of mind I created, right? So like, I was born June, the first week of June, right? Quote unquote Cancer time, right? So my sun, how I made my solar plexus, how I made my awareness, not to get too lost into a bunch of stuff, but like, my sun is in the first house. So like, somewhere I had my spring over here, hey, and then high. This is where like, yeah, I want to make my awareness, and these are the kind of lights I like to act on right here. So I kind of made my sun in the first house in the springtime. So my spring is like right. I'll be like springing things. You know what I'm saying? Like, my head is a spring. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm just kind of giving y'all a perspective. Like, if you know your natal chart and your astrology, you could like look at yourself in a certain lens, right? Astronomy, the math, astrology, the meanings, the reasonings, or the quote unquote, like, I hate to say spiritual, but like the meanings, the reasonings, the culture, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? If you lack culture, then You might have the astronomy, you might have the logic, but you're gonna be biased and maybe lacking the meanings of reasonings, the more of the right brain, or more of the intuition qualities, right? Or more of the internal natures where you already have like ears and eyes and these whatever external organs you have, you're already doing these like internally. So like you got a spiritual mouth. That's where sometimes people's spiritual mouth they be biting off too much more than what they could chew. So that might make you spiritually sick, where you might have ate the wrong thing or consumed the wrong information, and then maybe time plays out 3D. You might end up in a situation that just don't play out like so in your favor. You know what I'm saying? It can play out as like maybe friction or some type of frustration. For example, like going to a store after you watched I don't know, maybe you watched a bunch of like horror movies and shit. Maybe you somebody that don't even like horror movies, but you was just maybe bored or something that one day and shit, right? Or you was just maybe trying to learn, like whatever the case may be, you was trying to learn something or perceive something, or maybe you're just trying to be entertained for that day, or whatever the case may be, or that moment. And then say it was a whole bunch of like energies of like death, slaughter, like whatever the case may be, right? A horror movie, right? Scary shit, horrors, like a bunch of emotions and feelings, right? If you're not wise enough, you could be consuming and like eating those thoughts and feelings of that movie or whatever, and don't let it be like a movie where the directors, you know what I'm saying, like they know how they made the movie and the subliminal messages they could be putting in the movie. That's a different conversation, but like don't let it be a movie that somebody else is in control of and they got a whole agenda behind that movie or whatever, like like Friday the 13th, for example, right? About a whole movie about a white dude going around stabbing people. Anyways, say you was like watching a certain movie and that might not even be really you like that, but then like say days, weeks, months go by, you start experiencing some horrific shit, but you don't know why. It be most likely it could go back to that moment you was sitting around watching that good horror movie and you wasn't really thinking about like the thoughts and feelings of the movie, and you receiving that in, and then that's what your mind was like eating, or your spirit was like eating, and created a mind or like a monster or a creature that was, you know what I'm saying, to eat. Or you might not even had the proper mind creature to begin with. So you was like, you could have been traveling in a certain state of being, in the horror state of being, for example, and then you might not even be a horror like that, but then you take things from the horror lands back to maybe you like a Valentine's, maybe you like a romance movie type of spirit, but you went to the horror movie genre and then brought a whole bunch of horror movie stuff to your romance world, and now maybe the world that was once romantic to you is now full of things that are foreign. So it's like now your romantic world might have turned into a horror movie world, but you was like, wait, I had love here. Wait, where did love go? No, go 5, 4, 3, 2. I let one go. But it could have just been something simple as you ate the wrong like food. You know what I'm saying? You ate the wrong food for thought. You ate the wrong thoughts and feelings. You ate the wrong mentality, right? Or you had a certain mentality that should have never even been in that horror state of being. So when you get there, you experience a whole bunch of turbulence and shit, right? That'd be somebody that watched that movie and it'd be like a whole bunch of disturbing shit, or it was shocking, or it'd be like extreme reactions that they get because maybe it was like so unfamiliar that when they watch that movie, they're like, oh my gosh. And it might be too much. You should have just stayed in the romantic movie genre instead of trying to venture into the horror movie theater room, part of the esoteric movie theater place. You know what I'm saying? So now you might have nightmares just because you went into the wrong movie theater and shit, and then you know what I'm saying, took certain memories out of that. Like, you know what I'm saying, you've seen the movie and then you got certain memories now, and then now your life might play out like a horror movie when you could kind of look back, like there was a time where it wasn't so horrible. It was probably more in the romantic telenova. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was a telenova type of spirit, where you just go around telling everybody you love them and stuff. Now, like, you go after watching this horror movie and go about the experiences. You might have a whole change of heart. You might, you know what I'm saying? You might have like gave up. You might have just lost your whole love for your own romantic world and stuff. And now you like trying to get this horrible energy off of you. I'm speaking about my damn self, bro. I went to Las Vegas. They got terrible Herbs, which is like a gas station out there. But the whole name is called Terrible, like Herbs, which was some Family Guy's name, right? But I'm just thinking about like, damn, like I could be experiencing some terrible shit right now, just based off of all those times I was in Vegas, Las Vegas, going to terrible Herbs, the gas station, for whatever miscellaneous reason, like a pack of blunts, or going to get a drink or a snack, right? But then I might have took some shit that I didn't even know was like, I didn't really know I was taking with me into the, you know what I'm saying? The forward, man, it's like deep. All right, let me get to, okay, so my mom was a goddamn Aries, and she a Libra moon, and my dad is a goddamn Gemini, Libra moon. So my dad was double air, and my mom was fire air. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a specific example of my life that I could go back and I could see like how I might have went too far into that moment situation, and then I could be wise enough to myself, like maybe there was times where I should have chilled out. I can remember even moments where maybe the homies was like, hey bro, this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might want to chill out. And then I probably didn't listen. I was like, what you mean? I don't listen to you. And then my life was like, all right, you gonna find out. And then here I am today, looking back at all these like years and stuff, like, dang, if I would have just listened to myself at those moments where myself was telling myself to, hey, you know, at least ease up or like lighten up and not be so entrenched. You know what I'm saying? That way it don't gotta be so harsh, right? All right, so like, I'll just make it simple. Like, there was a time that maybe, all right, like I started smoking weed in high school, right? Now at that time, because this is what I was thinking about earlier, at the time, I had a bunch of shit going on, just my living situation, right? I was living with, you know, my mom at the time, or that guardian, that lady, right? So I was staying with and then my dad wasn't really around. My father wasn't really around the majority of my upbringing. And then into my, you know, like mid-teenage years, my father he was nowhere. Like, you know, I'd have to go to him or something to figure out where he was at, or some miscellaneous shit, or we had to like, anyways. I remember being in junior high. I'm in the middle of high school in the summertime. My mom, she ended up fracturing her femur. She fractured her leg. Now, if you know what your femur is, if you don't know what your femur is, it's this like right here, and that's like I guess a bone underneath, and all the like layers of, it's the bone that connects your knee to your hip. You know what I'm saying? It's the bone, and you know what I'm saying, that connects your knee, this part to the hip part, right? So it's just looking at your body, because y'all might have experiences where you think you separate than your family member or your friend or your associate or your coworker or a stranger, whoever it is, or some random guy in the mall and shit like that. You think you separate, or you think this guy's not relevant, but everybody in the situation is sharing some type of root, whatever it is, just for each individual to make up that situation where you got a whole group of people or a whole mall, a collection of people or whatever, right? So again, like, you're not just in a world by yourself. It took others. So I'm able to look at my life experiences because I know I'm not the mind. And instead of me, like, this is how I know I'm wise and I'm comprehended up, because I'm not trying to initiate more thoughts and feelings, or initiate more people, places, and things, or I'm not trying to like create more experiences to have, because I pretty much, you know what I'm saying, it's like I'm maxed out with myself. And then if I try to go any further than that, I'm just adding on more to the already heavy ass dark accumulation of thoughts and feelings, right? Now this shit could be like not just this lifetime, but it's like, bruh, it's like, bruh, just, that's what I'm trying to say. For you to even be who you are today, you was already in a certain like spiritual pocket that out of that pocket you created a certain thoughts that became feelings, and then those, like, that thought and feeling combination is what made your mentality spaceship, that first awareness, that first light body. So it's like it's not even something you can even like, where is that bitch at, but you know it's there. Because it's light in weight. It's not inside your brain. You know what I'm saying? Your mind isn't inside. Now your brain can be a mind, or one of your minds or organs, and then, you know, like, your brain ain't just working by itself and then being a brain just floating around, right? You know, you got hands, you got arms, you got a neck, you got a, you know what I'm saying, you got a jawline, you know what I'm saying, you got all these things that make up your quote unquote. So why would you think it's any different than what you're already doing as far as mentally and having certain thoughts and feelings? For example, you know, somewhere in your mind you have an ability of a hand. Let's just use a hand for example. You have a hand, right? Now, mentally, you gotta, like, you have a certain ability, like a thought and a feeling that came together, that you know what I'm saying, that do some hand motions. Now, this is like, just go back to your baby self, right? There was a time where you was a fucking baby and you didn't know how to you could barely even fucking walk. Okay? So is it you think you the body, and no, it's not like you the body, and then when your body dies, that's it. No, bitch. Because then nobody would be being born. That defeats that. Like, it ain't just you die, then that's it. Because we wouldn't be seeing new beings and new babies and spirit. We wouldn't be seeing new things come into being, whether that's a human, whether that's a plant, whether that's some creature or nature, like a new bug or you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is. It could be a new thought even that comes into, that could be like a body somewhere, or a being. Just a certain idea is a creature, right? So again, like, it's not the hand itself, and it's not about getting lost in, oh, this is my only hand and that's it. No, it's like, nigga, for you to have this hand, you was already doing the ability of what does a hand do, right? A hand is used for what? Grabbing, like holding on to things, grabbing, having a grip, grabbing things, holding things, like holding something concealed, like a cup or something. So receiving. Sometimes you gotta go out and take some shit. Sometimes you gotta push something out. So it's like, disregard, don't get lost in the flesh. Just your mental ability, like, all right, I'm gonna move my hand. That's what's more important. Because when your hand starts to expire and arthritis or whatever, due to just wear and tear and experience, like, you using that ability more than once, so at some point it's not what it first was, a fresh ability. It starts to You know what I'm saying? Just like anything else, we're all doing this. Hey, the springtime. Hey, birth. Hey, high, the life. Riding that. Hey, that way. You know what I'm saying? Playing out that hey, the hey high, and then you got the life of it. You got the high. Oh, high. And you can like look down at situations. You can fly over situations, look down at it, right? Look at what you just created, like a bay. Say I'm from the Bay Area. Before I was even born out of my mom's vagina womb or whatever, I was probably flying around spiritually, like just already created that. You know what I'm saying? Like I made a bay or something, like a bay of water. Got dumb high. Was able to fly around like, oh yeah, I made that body of water. Came to did a WWE off the top rope, jumped into my body, and here I am today. Real shit. Got in maybe to a bow, you know what I'm saying? Then maybe I got tied up. Right now I was like, bae, and then bye, you know what I'm saying? Bye, and then bye, you know what I'm saying? And then bow. Got them bows and shit. You know, shout out to all my hood ninjas. They keep them bows on deck. Some bows and shit. And then if you know what I'm saying? The bow, like, you know, you get the bow, like I got a bow and an arrow. Shout out to Dolo Pilot, man. I got a tomahawk, bitch. I got a bow and an arrow. So it's like, you ain't gonna have a bow if you at first don't know what a bay is. And that's a lot of things. A bay could be what? Like bay, that's bay. You know what I'm saying? What is bay? What is she? She a body of water. She a motion. So that's bay. Shit, you might be like, you might like to bake. Maybe you like to bake. You know what I'm saying? You might think you a babe, or you might think you a female that's what? Bad. You might be a bad bitch. You might be a babe. You might be a babe. She a babe, or he, you know what I'm saying? That's babe, right? Or if he was a deer, like Babe. Or maybe he was a baseball player at one point. You could have been Babe Ruth. You could have been Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth, whatever his name was. Babe something. But yeah, you got Babe, and you're like, you know, you might want to go buy something. You might want to go buy like, go buy some new clothes or something, and then shit, you might want to wrap it up with a box, give it a little bow, and then shit, you might even want to surprise somebody like, boo, I got you this present, and then shit, you might be somebody, that person you just booed, now that's your boo or something. Now they might just want to be with you all the time. They might just want to be, you know what I'm saying? You might be the next thing to be. So that's like, hey, hi, ho, you, and then you could, you know what I'm saying? Each symbol is like a certain, like B be a certain, like ba. You got ba, then you got like ba, da. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna go try to get into that because that's like kind of another segue of thought, but I'm just kind of giving you all the general like starting point, how I'm thinking. Like, so I know my mom was like an Aries. She was in that springtime. My dad was a Gemini. He was in that like transition between spring and summer. So like, I'm like pretty much like a byproduct of that fiery air mixing with, I guess, some more air, and then, you know, there's other parts of they self that there's water somewhere. So like fire, water, and air, these aren't separate things. These are just like elements. You ain't never gonna physically see these things just like floating around or something. You know what I'm saying? Even if you do, like if you was somebody that took like LSD or mushrooms or something, you think you hallucinating and seeing some shit. No, you just like seeing what you already doing in your own configuration, in your own form, your own information. So we wouldn't be talking about any information in today's time. Like we wouldn't be Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to grow up and receive information from everybody else just to even know how to, I guess, move this organ a certain way, to even put certain things in a certain, it's like it's a structured way of thinking and feeling. This is where you even get language. But before you had any language, you was just a baby. Like, you was just being just being. You know what I'm saying? You was just being. You was just trying to band, you know what I'm saying? Create a band yourself together, like rap yourself, get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, and this be shit you're just doing. Like, you wasn't consciously thinking as a baby, all right, I need to punch in today and make sure that I 2 hours before I start passing this next milestone, and then maybe by the end, maybe hopefully in 2 months, I'll be able to walk or something. If I do, going according to my schedule and listening to my supervisor, manager, my manager will make sure, hey, we're gonna get you up and walking in 2 weeks. We're gonna get you trained. We're gonna get you through the modules. We're gonna get your first paycheck in about 3 weeks, right? But as a baby, I'm not like, there wasn't no supervisor person telling me how to learn how to walk. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't getting paid to walk either. I wasn't getting paid to get trained to, like, hey, we're gonna pay you $15 an hour to start this learn how to grow up and be an adult training class. Like, it wasn't that, bro. Like, we got this job where, all right, here at learn how to grow up. Here at raise yourself to be an adult. We're gonna walk you through. We got this training class. You guys are great. You're like, this is actually the best time to come into training because the pay period ends on Friday. Yeah, it's like stupid shit. Like, if you a baby, bro, you wasn't thinking about all that. It was things that were just happening. Right? Like, you was a baby, you already got things going on, spirit, your mind doing things. So your mind was like the first body and stuff. So, like, for you to be a baby and then be here today or whatever age, you didn't stop doing the very same thing you've been doing your whole life, aka creating thoughts and feelings. Otherwise, you wouldn't have never learned how to walk, right? Because you wouldn't even fell or nothing to, like, even, oh, okay, that hurt. Let me make sure I don't fall again. I want to. Yeah. You start trying to help y'all. I'm in a town where they literally they capitalized off of the experience that everybody's gonna get old and shit, and then they capitalized off of the fact that there ain't no real medicine men out here, so they capitalizing off of selling a bunch of, like, pills and nursing homes and like rehabilitations and doctors and practitioners. Like, there's this whole health field out here where they got hospitals, and none of these people are gonna ever actually heal you. They're just gonna, here, take this. Because why? Because that's just what that family decided they wanted to do, right? As far as their business. But not to get too much off of that, but ultimately I'm just trying to explain how I know I was the only reason why I was even born into my living situation and circumstances early on in my upbringing was because I know my mind had to be in a certain place, and then all the, like, mini minds and shit that make up that first mind, because that first mind is just thoughts and feelings. So, like, you got a whole bunch of thoughts and feelings that accumulate to make that first body, but as you're not done, you keep going. So, like, this just wasn't taught in our upbringing, where, hey, here's a healthy release system of how to release certain thoughts and feelings that maybe 10, 15, 20 years old or whatever the case may be, or maybe there was traumatic memories that you might have experienced as a kid that maybe your parents wasn't trying to cause harm to you, but things just happen, like taking your child to the park and you're not trying to control your child. You're trying to let them grow, you know what I'm saying, go about their experience. Their child might fall on the play structure a certain way and hit maybe the metal bar or something. Now the child's like, now the child got a playground trauma or something just because being at the playground or something, right? But it's like maybe however you react to that situation. Some people might try to console or are you okay? Oh, like some fake love, and then you got like maybe a real situation, like, or it could be kind of the harsh, where maybe a certain parent was like, "What you crying for? Get up! Look, what you crying for? I didn't raise you to be no sissy." Talking to a 3-year-old or something, right? Like a 3-year-old even knows what you're even saying to them. They don't even know what you're saying to them. They're picking up on the energy you're putting out. So if you in some like nasty, hateful energy and you talking to a child, they not listening to all the terms and shit you think you're saying. They listening to where your mind is at. So going back to me, right? Just me knowing myself, like I know I was born in San Francisco, California, right? That's a different conversation, but it's still correlated, right? But ultimately, though, like I know my mom was in a certain, she had her certain mentality that joined with my father's mentality, that joining of multiple energies to create something new is like what I was paying attention to. So it's like everybody be like linked. If y'all kind of getting this, like, you got to really imagine this. It's hard to explain it, but I'll be seeing it like everybody's linked in a certain kind of way, because we all go back to a certain like starting point, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't even have a singular soul, if you want to call it a soul or something. You wouldn't have a singular, hey, this is me over here. You're not getting in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't never gonna jump in my body, already you having a body over there. Now, what we can do, we can learn from each other, each one teach one. So there'd be certain qualities that maybe for like quote unquote, somebody might be the more adult spirit, meaning they just took more bodies. They've been creating body, you know what I'm saying? They was creating bodies, if you will, longer. But it's not somebody, I'm better than you and you're below me. No, it's just I'm doing what I'm doing, take it with a grain of salt. Here's what you could, you know what I'm saying? If you could go to certain, now I could kind of like look at myself like maybe I was in certain mentalities that was kind of separate at one point, right? So I'm just kind of giving y'all like a perspective, like I know me being born in my situation, so my father, mother, sister, or brothers. I had a sister, 2 brothers they're all like my whole family, bruh. The life I was born into, everybody was already in a grown up. So I didn't grow up with a bunch of like young type of adults, if you will. Like some people got 20-year-old parents and shit. My mom was 45. So by the time I'm here, 3D wise, my dad was probably 30 something or late 30s or something, and then or mid 30s or whatever, and then my mom was like 40 something, right? 45, right? So they joined. Now whatever thoughts and feelings was on their mind, which only they know about, because I'm not even trying to figure it out. But I know I can look at myself and kind of look at maybe certain actions or reactions that I've acted on or reacted to. I could look at myself and how I maybe went about these things and kind of like, kind of cross compare or cross contrast a little bit without self-projecting or self-reflecting too much. I know how to look at myself and then kind of see where I added on a percentage level to even be in that situation with those people or people, places, and things. So this is like what we're all doing. It ain't just you somewhere by yourself. It's like you, whomever else, shit, even air particles that you don't even maybe most people don't even consider because they too lost in their in the ego of things. They're not even considering the air, the type of air they're breathing, what type of like mentality they're in to be coming up with a certain type of body to that plays out externally. Is like maybe somebody being, maybe they ain't, like maybe they're short, right, or something. They still got some developing to do. You know what I'm saying? Where they need to expand more. Now that's not saying that all short people are like lesser than. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying tall people are the more comprehensive being either. I'm not saying that either. I'm just giving you all like a perspective. Like you could be the shortest, smallest weakling nigga, but if your mind is goddamn in a certain like spirit, like, you know what I'm saying, certain state of being, nigga, you run everybody. So like, all right, for example, like going back to this example, because I know I've been kind of a little all over the place. I'm gonna just root it right here. So there was a time where I was in goddamn high school. My mom fractured her femur. That's a different conversation of how she did that herself, right? Because that was her own experience. But somewhere I added on to that experience. So I still felt at that time like a part of me felt like I'm seeing a part of myself, you know what I'm saying? Some type of like crippled or handicapped or like disabled, right, at the time, like, or non-movement, because my mom was on bed rest for like over a year and shit, and she had to, like, and to this day, like, that's something she ain't really still even, like, that's a, you know what I'm saying, that's a permanent change as far as the physical body. And even like certain things people like might, you know what I'm saying, the thoughts and feelings that, so it don't be like you have an experience and then you think you reacting. Like, for example, I'll use me for example. Say somebody punched me in the face. It's not for me to be a victim and get in my ego, like whatever thoughts and feelings I might come up with in that moment, right? I'm giving you this is real game. Like, I really did this. Like, I had to really look at myself in certain ways. Like, you know what? I created this situation. I'm not even going to react to this individual that just hit me in the face in a way where I'm taking it personal or anything. In fact, I'm going to be the more spiritual adult and take the high road and just walk away and leave this, you know what I'm saying? Now, not all situations be like that. Certain situations, you got to kind of act on some things, but I'm just kind of like giving you all a point, like a certain perspective. Like, it's not about getting further lost into the very same thoughts and feelings that ultimately created, like, you created that situation for you to be in, right? So it's not about being in a situation that you already created, like, after the fact. Here you are in it, and then you might take it personal as if, so this is where people be living backwards, where you creating experiences, but then you're not accountable and wise enough or spiritually adult enough to be aware of that. So you still lost in your egos, or you still lost in your minds, whatever parts. And there's a lot of them. You got like millions of cells, right? If we got millions of dollars in the world and millions of people, and okay, then maybe your body got millions of different pieces that are working together to make sure your ass could get around each day or whatever. And you supposed to be like the Power Ranger, you know, you supposed to be like the leader of the Power Ranger group, and you piloting your goddamn Megazord. And you got like your teammate over there, they got the arm seat, and then you got the arm seat over there, but it's not like y'all separate, y'all moving this big old Megazord body together and shit. And then don't get into combat modes. Y'all might, you know what I'm saying? You gotta really be in sync at that point, because then you might have one nigga like over here, like, should we throw a punch? Too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, too late. Like, should we get out the way? Too late. If you know what I'm saying, you don't freeze up. So that be like what I'm saying. Like, people just y'all don't be putting like deposit money, if you will. You don't be putting like esoteric deposits and savings and shit, and putting like certain funds in certain pockets with yourself. And so this is where it play out. Like, you have certain abilities that you just don't be using. or you don't be paying your rent, you know what I'm saying, your esoteric bills and stuff, abilities, bills. So it's like, you know what I'm saying, people just be getting like, people be creating these bodies and then get lost in them and be fake. Either like they be fake knowing it and just be lying to themselves, or they just be truly spiritually in darkness and they just did so much accumulation that, you know, it's kind of hard for somebody to see outside of themselves. So, and this is another reason why it's teamwork makes a dreamer, why we all need each other, because you could be so much entrenched in your own shit, but somebody else could see something and check you. It's not really supposed to be like that. That's where it gets more inverted. You already supposed to do this with yourself. That way you don't even got to come out externally amongst other people and have to deal with people checking you, or you looking at somebody crazy, or somebody looking at you crazy, and it really just be everybody self-reflecting, self-projecting their own, like, whatever thoughts and feelings, insecurities or traumas or experiences, whatever you got inside of yourself. It's like, so you got to go deal with that shit first. That way you could come out in an actual way and not be maybe still like confined, if you will, or stuck in yourself in certain ways. And that'll play out as different situations and relationships and circumstances that you ultimately experience. You know what I'm saying? But it's not you having a mind being lost in the mind, then you being lost in the condensed version, that your body, and then your body having all these different stimuli and different adrenalines and shit, different thoughts and feelings that might become stimuli or whatever, and then you acting on these things as if this is who you are. No, right? So like, say, for example, like, I'm gonna use me an example. Like, I know I probably needed to chill out on my marijuana consumption, but I didn't, right? Even when talking to myself, like, you know what, I need to kind of chill out, or, you know, get better at some moderation or something. That's hard for me to like really be firm about. So that's where, like, just each individual, we be like having these conversations and these dialogues with ourselves, like, and talking with existence, aka God or whatever. So it's like a lot of people be talking crazy to God. God be like, all right, child, just chill out or something, right? God be like, all right, just chill a little bit. And then you be like in your own subjectiveness and your own ego, even like the word be on your heart. So I ain't just like saying terms. You could just be sitting to yourself, like, not even move no lips, but you already having certain words and conversation with yourself, or communion, right, in a certain type of way and stuff, that you might be like, man, fuck you, God, I'm gonna go do this anyway. And then God be like, oh, God be like, okay, you gonna find out, child. Don't say I ain't warn you. Don't say I wasn't trying to help. Don't say I wasn't trying to stop you from leaving the house before you go to that gas station, and you think you thought you was gonna trust them homie cheeses, and then you come back to the crib and then you tell me, God's child, or you tell God, oh man, I should have listened to you, bruh. Them niggas, man, I knew them niggas was gonna rob you. Nigga, I told you don't go out the house and go with them niggas. I was getting a vibe from them that I didn't like. Nah, them niggas is up to something. You didn't want to listen to little bro, big bro. You didn't want to listen to big bro, little bro. When you went, so it's like, I didn't live this shit myself. Like, God showing me something, and then maybe have it play out through somebody else, like my brother or something, and then brother come back like, bro, I should have listened. I'm like thinking, no shit. But I couldn't be mad at bro, but it'd be that like stuff I done learned and paid attention to over time. I'm like, okay, like, let me, you know, maybe sometime God is trying to like tell you some shit, and it don't even be a human person. It might be a sign. It could be the wind, how the wind's blowing. It could be the wind blowing a certain way, like all of a sudden the wind's blowing like towards you, like, for that day or something. And you be like trying to go against the wind current, and God's like, oh really? You think you just You just gonna ignore my message? Okay. So it'll be like shit like that, and it's not until you maybe go through the detrimental demise type of situation where you start, you know what I'm saying? That's like the time where people be in jail or some shit, or they whatever on like deathbed or accident or something, and then that's where people be like trying to talk to God then and stuff after the fact. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then it be in the wrong way too. Like, you're supposed to be thanking God, like, thank you, this is exactly what I asked for, not cursing God out and shit. And then as soon as God put you in a situation where now you the one that got to deal with it, you know what I'm saying? Because it's what you created. Y'all be wanting to curse yourselves out and curse God out and stuff. And God be looking at you like, what did I do? I gave you exactly what you asked for. Oh, don't even. You know what? Don't even. You know what? I'm not fucking with you niggas, man. God be like, oh, man. Come on, man. What's wrong with you, dude? God start talking like that. What's wrong with you, dude? I told you stop fucking with them niggas, man. Oh, man. What's wrong with you, dude? Like shit like that. That's my Uncle Robert. That's my brother. That's my brother, Dad Robert. But like, I remember that. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta have that ability. I gotta remember that shit. That was a mean ability, bro. Share with me. He was like, yeah, you want this ability, but you gotta be able to know how to kind of redo it. And I was like, yeah, I got that ability of like memory and stuff. I know how to remember exactly how you said it and the facial expressions. And I can relate to like why you like the meanings and reasonings to why you even in that energy to begin with. I feel like that somewhere in my own life. So it was like, yeah, I'm saying two people could both do a similar expression character, but in two different ways, but the same character though. Hence, you wouldn't have goddamn all these damn fucking mafia movies and Scarfaces and Tony Montanas and Al Pacino, Carlito's Ways and goddamn Gangs of New York and Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, like all these tuxedo wearing ass movies where somebody was goddamn giving out the smoke. You know what I'm saying? And it had nothing to do with a ceremony in a church. It had nothing but it had everything to do with some type of religious practice. But they didn't need to be in no ceremony in the church with the little urn thing and then the little church dude coming down the aisle with the little like, I don't know, gauntlet thing with the smoke coming out of it. Nah, you don't even need that. That's a whole ceremony of just distraction. Them cats don't even believe in they don't even smoke blunts. Yet they got the nerve to like walk down the church aisle and doing some ritual that they had to plagiarize, and that's a different conversation. But niggas don't know what they doing, dude. Man, if it ain't no nugs, if it ain't no marijuana nugs in that little gauntlet thing that the church niggas, the Catholic niggas be doing if it ain't no some herb in that cauldron thing, I don't know what they got in there. It's probably crack. Probably crack. But yeah, man, let me get back to, all right, wrap it up, dude, because I know this is getting kind of lengthy, but I had my mom and shit. My mom was a female, right? My dad was a thought. So there was a lot of days in my growing up where my dad wasn't around, my father wasn't around, right? Gemini, air. So somewhere inside of me, I didn't have my own like idea about myself clear or something, right? So it's something I had to make, because maybe I didn't come into this life already with that ability developed, but I might have had other abilities developed, like music, for example, like just naturally knowing music or naturally having a certain common comprehension to even know what to do with a basketball. shape. Because how many kids that old like know how to like, bro, I was 2-3 years old already. Like my mom bought me a little Fisher's Price basketball hoop. I was goddamn shooting. I'd be on the little patio and shit. I grew up in San Francisco in the Bay Area, so like we had an apartment that my mom worked, but it was like a 2-story apartment. So like you on the street level, you go up the stairs. That's the living room, and then you gotta like go up another set of stairs, right? But like it was the first level was off of the ground, right? So like there was a patio. We had like this little patio kind of thing where you could like go out and, you know, it'd be a patio area, right? Kind of over out, you know what I'm saying? Up in the high rises of the city buildings and shit and apartments and stuff. But I'd be on this little patio. I'd be out there. I can't even remember, bro. I probably spent so much time just out there on that damn patio, and I was just so young, developing myself. I probably wasn't even thinking and feeling a certain way yet to even be like, I was just being, you know, it was just something that was just happening. It was just a time in my life that was just happening, and I was just doing my part of what I felt was something that was happening, right? So it might have just been me picking up a basketball and shooting on a little basketball hoop to develop that part of myself. And it might not, you know what I'm saying? This is before any ideas about NBA or anything. So I'm just kind of giving y'all a perspective, like somewhere as I further developed, I got more like lost into what other things in the world that other people were paying attention to and pushing out, or like maybe the government was pushing out, or, you know, just things of the world, right? As far as like statuses, your business, things that you're into as far as business, and how maybe you can expand upon these things, you know, if you start at the grassroots, and then you stick to it, and you could further, you know, you could like scale and expand upon maybe a certain creative ability you have or something, right? So that's ultimately what I was doing growing up. Like, I didn't have my dad around, so I had to be my own father. I was like, you know what, I'm finna do this or something. Like, this is my idea. Like, I'm finna go hoop or something, right? And then my mom was always working. Like, so I pretty much was alone a lot of my time, or like, I was always by myself, bro. I ain't never had, well, I was always amongst others, but I was always in a perspective, like I knew who I was. So I didn't feel like I need to do shit to get attention. I would just be doing what I was into. If I liked reading books, I was reading books after school, you know what I'm saying? After school program or something. If I was reading books, I would go read some books till my mom came and picked me up or something, right? So I always kept my mind, I never had a dormant portion of my life, like hardly ever. If like, I can't even remember a single moment of my life where I wasn't doing something. So it takes that ability, like, you always doing something. You don't stop doing that. So this is how I know I had to be around, at least, you know what I'm saying? I know I got other lifetimes before this one. Just how I think to myself, like, this is shit I've always been into. Like, I was always trying to figure out, like, what is this God concept everybody talking about? Went through that whole timeline, realized, oh, these niggas was trying to tell me about my damn self. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I already had a piece of God. And you realize what God actually is. It's just everybody, the ocean, the people, the animals and stuff. We all make God and stuff. You start realizing, like, oh, some humans are just trying to, like, be the parents of everybody and claim all the, like, parenting rights and the guardianship, right? Like, they could just tell everybody, like, they know what's best for everybody. That's all that's going on. So I was like, you know what I mean? Maybe early on, though, in my life, I was still fighting myself, aka my own government, my own father, madam, whatever, right? My own thought and feeling, right? So those were maybe split or something. Or maybe I was trying to get them together. You know, maybe I was kind of close maybe at that time, but I was like still in the, like, trying to just get myself together, right? So now I got myself more together. I could, like, talk like this. But maybe at that time I was more in the ignorance. I was still more in the heaviness of being, you know what I'm saying? If you like in a pool or something, right? I was under the water still. I was still swimming underwater, you know what I'm saying? And then I could have been spiritually drowning, gasping for air, like I need to breathe, you know what I'm saying? But I might have been too heavy. Maybe I had chains wrapped around my ankles and shit. And then maybe I was chained to the the bottom of the ocean. Trying to, like, you know what I'm saying? You trying to get out, but it was like that. And maybe one day, like, I just realized, like, I got the key or something, right? And I just like unlocked the damn, you know what I'm saying? A little chain ball or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That niggas was trying to maybe attach to my spirit via their little mafia business. And they was like, yeah, we're gonna make sure he sleep. We're gonna make sure that we're gonna make sure he sleep with the fishes. And then maybe I was in that situation. Like, they was like, shit, we almost got him sleeping with the fishes. And I could have been sleeping with the fishes so long, maybe like one fish I interacted with a fish. And then maybe that fish like showed me something, like, oh wait, yeah, like maybe I got pockets. Yeah, the fish might have like swam in my pocket, and then I might have like tried to go reach in my pocket to get the fish out, and then as soon as I reached in my pocket, the fish was gone, but there was like a rainbow key there or something, like a key with like a rainbow key, and then that was like the key that I might have been searching for to like unlock this heavy ass chain keeping me submerged under the ocean of life. And then as soon as I was able to unlock that, I was like, oh, and then I start swimming to the surface, and then I hit the surface, hit my belly, you know what I'm saying? Got my head above water and stuff. Now I'm able to like look around and like, oh, this is what I've been in. Oh shit. Then I think about all the like seconds, minutes, hours maybe being underwater and shit, and all those experiences. And then that'd be like, you know, a bunch of stuff that I'm not gonna go into. It'd be too much to, you know, you know what I'm saying, reignite these ideas and shit. But pretty much my dad was flunked out. He went and did his own thing. That was a representation of somewhere in my mind. I had no idea about myself. Like, where the fuck am I at? And then my mom was like such an Aries and shit. She always be doing shit. And then there'd maybe be times where, you know, maybe I was like trying to get a certain kind of like connection or something like Cancerian, my energies, but you know, maybe certain people not everybody be watery like that. So I had to spend a lot of days like really getting into myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, life showed me these things. Like, nigga, don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, I might be trying to talk to people, nobody listening. So I was like, all right. At some point, I just kind of chalked it up like, all right, you know what I'm saying? But okay, the hand thing though, like Geminis be like hands, the lungs and shit. I grew up with like asthma, so somewhere like I kind of come out of like a hot air or something, like maybe even like a dragon's breath kind of allegory or metaphor, or a hot air balloon, or I'm like a hot air balloon. You know what I'm saying? Over the beach, over the ocean or something. But ultimately what I'm trying to express is, like, you have certain thoughts and feelings that became your experiences. It's not about taking these things personal. It's about kind of looking at it like, okay, I had that memory. All right, cause I keep getting off track. Let me get back to what I'm saying. So my father wasn't around. That's like the logic, or that's like the fire in the air, right? My mom was kind of playing that energy to some degree. Because it's not about like getting lost in masculine or feminine. Each being has these qualities of receiving and pushing out. You know, otherwise you wouldn't have a heartbeat and you wouldn't be breathing. Okay. It'd just be a matter of people being like imbalanced. You know what I'm saying? Where certain areas you got biases, but then other areas, those might be areas you're not so familiar with. Those might not be your family members, but it still be like maybe a 180, like an opposite energy that's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the same energy, just like over there, but it's not separate. It'd be the other half the other corresponding half of whatever situation you experiencing. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about looking at things like you're trying to run away from shit. It's about looking at things like, okay, like I got this thought, and then this thought is producing this feeling and this child or this son, and out of this thought right here, this daughter, or this is the daughter, or this is the son, and these are the children. Okay, this is the father right here, and these are the thoughts and feelings, aka the children, that make up this father idea right here. And if this father idea right here, quote unquote, is black or dark, he looks dark, he's wearing a black t-shirt, and I know black represents like things hidden or unseen, or even the accumulation of certain colors make up a black, something black, and then that could be like heaviness. So this could be a whole like heavy ass idea that they're promoting, right? And if you get lost in this shit, you're gonna get lost. But Eve, which is Eve is a feeling. So this is some type of like thought idea or a father that is emotional. So this is not even no true like thought right here. This is like an emotional ass feeling that might look like a man or image, or it could be the image that bended in on itself, or all the accumulation of said image, the accumulation became this feeling. That is where she at. You know what I'm saying? So that'd be like, where are they over here? Bro, y'all don't even know how to look at shit, blood. Maybe this side would be the woman or something, right? But it's the woman gonna look like what? The idea, the image. So there's a thought and a feeling going on here, and both of the sides of this side and this side make one thing. That's kind of like telling a story there based upon what kind of idea and feeling that quote unquote new era, whatever they trying to push out. So you could come and look at their new collection that's available in their store at their, you know what I'm saying, their term lids. That, but before you get lost in that, you would, you know what I'm saying, if you knew how to break shit down. Bro, it's even deep, bro, because in each fucking, like, she's the Dolphins, he's representing, I guess, the Lions, Chiefs, 49. Now this is like a whole story right here. I'm not even gonna get lost in that, but I'm just kind of giving y'all like a perspective. But yeah, I know I got lost in my mind, and so like, for example, like the first time I started smoking weed was like when I was 16, like junior year or whatever. My mom fractured her leg. At that time, I was just dealing with a lot of like, my dad wasn't around, so I had to step up and be that father. I had to be that idea, you know what I'm saying, to help my mom and shit, because she was fake doing it by herself for X amount of years. So it was like, okay, now it's time for me to kind of like be the parent and learn those parenting qualities for myself. But or life forced me into that energy. Like, nigga, you sitting around in your room too much playing video games, or whatever the case may be, or like you ain't, you know what I'm saying? I was imbalanced, like thinking I could just sit around, and my way of trying to control my life was having this controller in my hand and you know, go about the video game experience of all that information, right? But the whole scenario was me somewhere in my mind, I was dormant or whatever. I was lacking creativity. I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't have no idea. I didn't have no father. My father was not around. He was wherever the fuck he was at. I guess scattered, right? Just scattered and shit on some Gemini mutable air, like here, there. You don't know where that nigga at, right? Even if that nigga was in the physical setting, cities away, or like, you know what I'm saying? Mentally though, he was like nowhere near. I was nowhere near to be. That dude was nowhere near to be found. So I'm just kind of like going back to the day where because I started smoking with my homie. My homie was one of my basketball teammates. He was an Aquarius. Aquarius kind of is that fixed winter time of the winter season, which kind of represents like the accumulation from the spring through all the way to the end of the year, the winter time, the beginning of Capricorn, and then you get Aquarius, right? So Aquarius would be like the mind that accumulated. Now you got this fixated awareness, right? This fixated thought and feel, or spaceship, a mentality, a mind. And in the winter time, that's like the Yi or the He or the G, you know what I'm saying? Or the Gabrielle, because you got spring, Michael, Raphael, and Uriel would be the fall, and like Gabriel would be that fixed point of the winter time as far as the four horses shit, the fixed points beyond human. This is like shit we're doing just mentally first before you even make a body like that. This is how you come to make a body. So I smoked with bruh. Before I smoked with bruh that day. Now I'm a Gemini. I got like Gemini energy, so that was like a trine with bruh. Like, but I'm looking at it like, okay, maybe there were certain parts of me that I felt like maybe I was lacking internally, aka a father, right? Some type of fire, masculine, or some type of air logic. And I'm looking at myself, right? This is me looking at myself, like, okay, I didn't have no ideas, or even then, like at that time, I struggled with using like communication. I didn't really have the right words on my heart, or like I wasn't organized internally yet, so it wouldn't even come out as some type of organized, constructed sentence or a statement that makes sense, that I could like express to people and relate in a certain way where people would be able to receive that information and kind of know where I'm coming from. I didn't have these type of mentalities then developed. So I was like, you could say I was lacking to some degree, or I was just going through that time where I needed to go through those experiences to get to this point, to then look back like, oh, okay, right, I was just still in the process of development. So at that time, before I even smoked with the homie, so what is smoking, right? Like fire and air, just to correlate it, right? Somewhere I didn't know how to look at myself a certain way, fire or vision, right? My mom's an Aries, so that's like cardinal fire, the initiating of said fire expression. So it's not, and it's more so being externalized. So it's like not like a water sign, but the fire Aries be like looking, like having a feeling, emotion, and feeling, but not it being so attached, and being able to like look outside of your, you know what I'm saying, being able to see something. Aries is all about seeing and visualizing the emotions and feelings. They don't feel it like inside and catch a vibe or something. They literally like project it out of their mind, and they see it in their head, like they see it in their mind, right? So there was just certain things at the time that I wasn't seeing, that I had to learn, because it's a square 90-degree angle between Cancer and Aries, the beginning of spring and the beginning of summer. But it's like the same energy just being done in like kind of, I don't even want to say different, but in that certain transition phase. So there were certain things that I probably I was like subconsciously picking up on, that I didn't know that's what I was doing, was like learning at the time. But things didn't consciously make sense, right? Fire, air. I was more in the water and I guess in the earth element, right? And my second house right here is where my moon is at. So my sun is in my first house, and then my moon is right here, my second house. So exalted sun and exalted moon, both in Cancerian, Cancer. So there was a lot of times where I didn't know how to distinguish what I was feeling internally, and then I didn't know how to like separate that feeling from what I was externally, either, experiencing as far as actions, or what I was aware of, or what maybe I was attracted other people that were going to be aware of these things about me, and maybe I didn't know how to look at myself a certain way. So, it might have been, it would have been more harsh. It would just play out by default as more harsh, and having to learn from, other people, places, and things trying to tell me certain shit about myself. So this is that whole self-projecting experience that people be going through, or be creating for themselves, where you technically lying to yourself in some type of way. You really know what you need to deal with, you just ain't dealing with it, and you just go about your life however you've been going about it. And then this is where you might run into issues with other people, places, and things, as far as disagreements, or just not being on the same page with people, or misunderstandings, or just like shit not making sense a certain way, right? But it all starts in your own self, and the type of experiences that you're creating. So once you get more handle on that in the mind, you stop taking things so personal, and you could just truly go about whatever experiences being yourself, being your authentic self, and not worried about validation, whether you're going to be perceived as right or wrong, or likable or dislikable. It's not about that. It's about you, and what kind of world is you creating, and where is you going? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to go in this faulty direction, or do you want to go in a direction that could be more close to the promised land, where it might be all your creativity, your goals, your wildest dreams might be in that direction, but instead you might be lost in some type of information at the moment, where you got all your colors and you don't know how to separate your abilities correctly. So all your abilities is playing out as like a heavy experience, and it's not until you like lighten these things up and kind of put things into perspective, aka awareness, light, making these things more lighter in weight, not being so heavy in the experience, as if these things are actually happening to you. They're not happening to you, they're happening through you. You're an instrument, you're a vessel. You know what I'm saying? You're a vehicle. When you jump in your Honda, or your whatever vehicle you drive out there, do you stay in the vehicle for the rest of your existence, even after you die? You know what I'm saying? Like when you get old as fuck, is you still living in that Toyota you had when you was in your 30s? Or did you like get old as fuck, gotta wear, you know what I'm saying, jump in a coffin and go about your next life travel? You know what I'm saying? You're not taking the Toyota with you. You're not taking that car with you. So it's like, do you even really, you know what I'm saying? If you don't really need that, if you start scratching your head like, fuck, man, I got these car payments, this, that, and the third. You could start looking at yourself in the mirror like you didn't even really want that Toyota, and you was trying to fulfill something else inside of you, and you thought that maybe that object, or that Toyota, or whatever it is, or that cupcake, or that frog, or whatever it is, you thought that was the object that was gonna fulfill that void, or whatever you feel like you lacking in, right? And maybe it did temporarily, right? You might have had that shit, you feel good, you driving around, but as soon as time goes on and shit wears off, that just like that day, that thought and feeling has to expire. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't hold on to that. And if you try, go ahead and try, see what happens in your life. Go ahead and try to hold on to that old ass pair of boxers or underwear that got like doo-doo stains in them. Go ahead and try to keep wearing them doo-doo stained drawers as if you washed them and they're clean or something, and ain't wear and tear doo-doo stained drawers with holes in them or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, you want to keep wearing doo-doo stained drawers, or are you just gonna go get you some new drawers to put on? You like what? You only got one pair of drawers in your household, or do you not? Or do you like have a whole walk-in closet where you could like you might have 10 different combination pairs of drawers that you could like wear and shit. You might have like exclusive drawers that you put on for exclusive occasions. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're talking about mentalities, bruh. You know what I'm saying? You could be somebody with a very poor mentality or a lack, some type of lack, and that's the focus you're focusing in on. Somewhere inside of you, you feel like you lack a certain quality or certain ability, but it's not about like being down on yourself and being ashamed. You either gonna go try to link up with the corresponding other people that could possibly, hey, maybe help you with that ability, help you develop that ability. Maybe you could learn something about that ability from somebody else, whatever the case may be, right? Or you're just gonna try to make that up for yourself, because at the end of the day, you could listen so much to other people, but at the end of the day, you still gotta make up your own mind for who you are. You know what I'm saying? You could listen to 1,000 niggas. You could listen to 1,000 people, right? Lawyer, teacher, boss, manager, fast food worker, like all these people, right? These are all like different roles inside of yourself. Well, maybe not so much the synthetic ones, but ultimately, like, you get what I'm saying. You got different roles and shit, and it's not about you like externally having experiences and then taking those experiences to your heart, which is like your home. So you're not supposed to go to work. Say externally, you out here in the work. It's like the idea, like God gave you this mind, this awareness. You got a job now. God needs you to perform your job for existence, and it's like you taking all of the things, all the thoughts and feelings that you accumulated while at work, doing your job, and it's like you taking all those experiences back home to your heart space, and that's not. You don't need all those thoughts and feelings in your heart space. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people realize, like, wait, that was dumb. Like, yeah, time goes on, you start realizing, like, wait, that was dumb. Why did I even do that? Like, that was dumb. Or like, why did I even get upset about that? That was petty. Or like, why did I even get upset at that person? I love that person. Why did I treat them like that? And then this is where you got to look at yourself in the mirror, like you was being a demon, getting lost in your mind and shit, getting lost in your body, and you not knowing how to be a true like adult being, comprehended up to where you piloting and you being the captain of your own ship. Somewhere in your line, you jumped out of the seat and then did whatever else. Maybe go cook you went and go scramble some eggs in the kitchen on your spaceship. Now you cooking eggs and shit. Now you got Jesus taking the wheel or something. Jesus could have been some Abaddon creature that don't even need to be steering the ship, and then here you go letting this Abaddon creature pilot you and fly you into all kind of areas so it can have its explorer. Or maybe certain spirits that ain't born yet, they might try to jump in one of your organs and shit that you left dormant, and then shit you might be in other areas and shit. Now you got some third party miscellaneous in and out spirits coming in and jump in your goddamn calf muscle or something, since you don't use your calf muscle like that on a daily basis or whatever, or ever, or hardly ever. So, you know what I'm saying? But that organ be like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be vacant. It'd be needing, you know what I'm saying? It'd be needing to be fulfilled. Your spirit be like knowing you need to fulfill all of these pockets. You ain't supposed to really leave any of them vacant, and you ain't supposed to have too many thoughts and feelings in just one area either. So that's like when you start looking at it more like that, like, oh, there's a certain shit. There might have been a whole goddamn a war or a conflict within yourself in your heart space, right? So there you got like your heart space. Jerusalem could have like little villages and shit within it that are like totally destroyed and rubbled, and you haven't even paid it attention yet to maybe go try to clean up and maybe send some people there, like, hey, we need to clean up Jerusalem and handle, you know what I'm saying? There's a conflict going on in Jerusalem. So if you look at yourself, you kind of listen to what I'm saying, you could see why you even like, if you somebody that watched the news, why you even watched the news today, and why you was even watching certain things like Benghazi scandal, Hillary Clinton, or whatever the case may be. Maybe somewhere in your own mind you was goddamn being scandalous with yourself, or maybe if niggas are like talking about war, Hamas, maybe somewhere in your Hamas location within yourself there was some beef going on. And then you just played out as on the Fox News channel. But if you don't know how to put two and two together, your ass is going to be letting that war in Hamas within you keep going, and then the external war, you might give that more importance. Because you think that's, you know what I'm saying? You more lost in the after the fact shit. So you going to like take what they saying on TV literal. Because they in some type of government seat position, and you don't know how to govern your own mind. So now you listening to people outside of you, aka really you listening to all the NIGGERs inside of you, and you listening to those thoughts and feelings, and then they like outweighing you. You supposed to be the president, like the governor. You supposed to be the god of your own creation, your own world and shit, not letting all the creations that make up your world outweigh you, and now you no longer a god to yourself. Now all of a sudden all the things inside of you run you, and you don't even know what you doing each day because you're not piloting yourself. You letting your arm make decisions. You letting your feet make decisions. You know what I'm saying? You letting your stomach make decisions and shit. And who said your stomach was God like that? They're not. It takes your stomach to work together. You need a heart muscle. You need this organ. All these bitches work together. Not you being favorable and having a favorite day, box of cookies towards that specific part of you, where you got your happy birthday or something. That day you want everybody to celebrate your springtime and shit. Soon as the next day you might start feeling a little salty, because now it's like people ain't giving you the same amount of attention they was giving you on your B-day. But shit, not every day in your life is your birthday, motherfucker. You know, you gotta let somebody else needs to come into birth and being and shit. You gotta let somebody else be born sometimes. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Apparently this one concept of Jesus is the only cat that knows how to like reborn and come back to life and stuff, apparently, and walk on water and all the allegories and metaphors and stuff. Apparently that white man Jesus is the only character that knows how to like, die and then resurrect. It's like all allegory shit, bro. If you know how to look at yourself, you'll know how to like kind of take what I'm kind of expressing and kind of apply it to your own life, where you already know, like, you might be having a certain conversation with yourself, like, hey, like I need to chill out on this or whatever. Like I need to stop eating so many bags of chips or whatever. The more you have that conversation with yourself, the more it will come to be apparent. Like you actually start playing out that image. So it's like, it's a focus thing, life just be a perspective thing. Like, what are you focused on? Are you truly, genuinely out of your biases, and you're able to look at things in a true overall forward progression, positive direction, not just for you, but like how you fit in with the whole scene or the scenario, right? Like you either see yourself in a more favorable position or a more favorable place, or you looking at life very negatively and you liable to keep bumping your head on something until you get the point. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you could just stay where you're at. You know what I mean? Maybe just this lifetime you didn't want to like handle that much, or you wasn't ready for certain things that you thought you was ready for, and you might like retract a little bit and kind of go back into maybe a previous body or something. But that's, you can't stay there. At some point you still gotta expand out of that shit. So life is always gonna like put you, what I'm saying? Life is always gonna give you I guess that's what life is about, challenges and tests and challenging ourselves as far as doing things that are new, and then hopefully you do that new thing long enough, you get better at it, and you start to develop the ability of, maybe you want to be a rapper, for example. You got to know how to talk a certain way to be a rapper. You can't just be a rapper because you think you want to be a rapper. You can't just be a dad and a father because you thought you was like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna have a kid and I want to be a dad and stuff. That don't mean you an actual dad and a father. It's like, it's that type of shit. So it's like, I'm just looking at myself again. Like, my dad wasn't around. Maybe there was certain experiences I was having that was kind of showing me like at the time I was maybe too lost into myself, but I couldn't see it like that. So now that I'm here in this here moment, out of all the heres that I've been here, there's been a lot of heres, but this part of the here quality, the overall here, it's like micro heres, micro years and heres and peers and cheers and gears and stuff. So at that time, that Gears of War, I was going through it. I was like Gears of War, fighting the Horde, fighting the Locusts. Nigga, I was in hell, bro. I was in the you know what I'm saying? I probably didn't even have no co-op mode. I didn't even have co-op mode. I was single mode to the neck, Gears of War, had to fight the Horde. Some of the most brutal days of my life. But now that I'm able to look at certain things with the right starting point, I was able to like lighten up a lot of these moments. So like, yeah, they happened already. They was heavy at those times. But now that I'm like, you know what I'm saying, being more aware, I'm able to kind of like check myself. So I ain't even creating harsh experiences like that anymore to be in, as far as the days and stuff. But then a lot of it do be I'm like shedding, and I was like so maybe too much into certain things, so like I had to spend equally, or if not more, the same amount of time getting out of video games, for example. Like however much time I used playing video games, I'm going through that now. I'm taking the same amount of time that now I got to do the same amount of time that I was playing video games. I got to do that same amount of time not playing video games, and probably doing like the things I was doing in the video games in real life, in real experiences. You know what I'm saying? Not no like unhealthy shit like GTA and stuff, but like certain things like talking to people, commuting, going through certain cut scenes, going through, maybe I need to go, metaphorically, maybe I need to go jump in a Formula One race car track in my own world. Like, not trying to be a racist or race and compete with nobody out here, but there's somewhere in my world I need to catch up and do the dash and go 200 miles per hour. Because maybe I've been behind for the past 20,000 laps. You know what I'm saying? I could be like 20,000 laps behind, and I didn't even jump into the goddamn Formula One car yet. And I'm like, oh shit, I need to catch up. Let me jump in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to catch up now, and I might be like 10,000 laps behind myself. And then there's that ghost car ahead of me. You always got that ghost car in front of you that's like yourself, but it's like, I guess, the guideline or something. But don't let that little ghost car shit disappear or something, and now you just racing yourself again. You still got to know where you're going, like, but you get what I'm saying? Like, y'all get what I'm saying? That little ghost car is like your mind, and your mind already did it, and then you be the tail, pretty much, trying to like catch up to yourself and make that connection. You know what I'm saying? It's like ding, you know what I'm saying? But if you missed a point or something, you didn't know how to match your body with your mind correctly, so you might have did like, yeah, missed the point, right? Like you didn't combine them. You still got this like split, like knuckleball or something. All right, but yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Like, I got lost in my mind somewhere down the line, and in this context. I know I was smoked with the homie. I might have seen the homie one night before even that. You know, it was like a build up, right? Like, maybe I was thinking about it internally, like, like what would that experience be like? You know what I'm saying? Maybe seeing the homie like in his, you know what I'm saying, in his mentality at the dinner, and we was all having like a team dinner or something, seeing bruh smelling the herb. I'm like, ooh, that kind of smells good. I kind of like the smell of that. You know, I think the first time I might have smelled it, maybe my brother at some point maybe came in from a Christmas, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he did the Christmas, go outside and come back in on Thanksgiving or Christmas, and then I smelled the aroma. And I'm like, what did he do? But it smells different in here, right? Like those type of thoughts and feelings, right? Then one day you're like, you know what? Let me try this thing. What's the hype about, right? And then that was like me realizing, oh shit, I didn't even just get high. Right? I came back into being regular and shit. Or maybe certain things opened up. Maybe I had certain blockages that when I hit that L, or I didn't hit no L, but when I hit the little bowls and shit, hit that tree, those parts of myself opened up. You know what I'm saying? But I could have already, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could have had already did that without having to even go through that experience. I could have did, maybe if I was wise enough, I would have just did the energy in myself, and then I would have never even had to maybe go down that lane of even hitting no trees, right? You know what I'm saying? Or at least, okay, say I hit some trees, and then maybe like a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, I'm like, I kind of want to do that experience again, but maybe something was telling me like, just chill out for now. And then maybe I didn't listen to that message, like, hey, chill out right now. So I kept going. Yeah, so I'm just kind of helping y'all get a perspective. Like, it'd be times where you're supposed to do something, or like if you go do certain things, like you want to go get that French fry, you might know it's like you had already about 5 French fries during the week. Your body's like, man, we need to do something different. And then you go buy a 6th French fry. That might be the time where you experience some shit that you probably didn't want to experience, but you knew somewhere in yourself, you was like talking to yourself like, don't go buy that 6th purchase of fries. You know what I'm saying? But you went and did it anyway. So sometimes you gotta just go about those experiences, because that's what you're thinking and feeling. Like, that's where your mind was at. So your mind gotta like release that. So it's not about stopping yourself and preventing yourself from having experiences. I don't even want to put this out there, but just an example, right? Like, somebody might need to smoke a bowl of some weed or crack. I don't even want to say crack, but because a lot of these things are like synthetic. But like, somebody might need to go swimming. Maybe they're not really a person that even likes to swim, or maybe they got trauma from swimming when they were a kid or something, right? But they might benefit from just dipping their body in that water, right? It could just be something simple, like they be at work all year pretty much, and then that summertime when their body might just need to relax and get in the pool and shit, that'd be the time for that. God be giving you a time like, hey child, there's this season window where, hey shit nigga, I'm creating the certain atmosphere, environment, and the temperature, and this is why this season is the way it is, called summer. Hey, go jump in the pool if you want. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be able to jump in the pool in the wintertime. And then don't let years go by where you just didn't jump in the pool at all, and then you get old as fuck. And then now you might have a whole bunch of accumulation of energies, like you still want to go jump in the pool though. You know what I'm saying? Now, that don't mean like you need to physically go jump in a pool. It might just mean internally you need to add some emotions and feelings to your being, or just chill out, go soak. Yeah, go soak your feet, dog. So that's all I'm trying to say. Like, I had a certain mentality, thoughts and feelings, that those ideas have bended in on itself. Had the experience. Maybe at the time I was too into myself to realize that I didn't need to be so invested into those thoughts and feelings, because now that I'm here at 30 years old, I can look back at like, man, those thoughts and feelings were, I don't feel like that no more. That was literally just that time. But you know what I'm saying? But you might have like acted and planted those seeds, so now you got to go about dealing with those natures and stuff. And don't let them be no big ass beasts and shit that you like let grow out of control. Now they're like monsters and shit, and certain creatures that like giants and running your habitats and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or now you got like some foreign creature in your habitat, right? So it's like, I'm just looking at my external life, not being so taking it personal, and then I could look at certain things that I might like have certain thoughts and feelings about, whether good or bad, and then I could go look back at myself like, okay, why did I clearly had a problem with that person saying too much. Okay, me somewhere in my mind, in my world, I'm fucking talking too much. And it's not for me to take it out on that person and tell that person like, hey, shut up, bitch. Now that might be warranted if I did the internal part first. Like, shut up, bitch, to myself. And then that might be the corresponding external representation of that feeling that you just had that conversation with. You might then it'd be justified, like, shut up, bitch. Because you're not just, you know what I'm saying? You're not just like saying it for no reason. It'd be like more justified. But yeah. That's it. I'm gonna just kind of wrap it up. Like, I'm gonna wrap it up. 2 hours in. Ultimately, though, I know like I created my situation. This is just a small example, right? So like I had an idea, maybe somewhere. Again, like that could have been an idea that was my father's idea, and then just like was maybe it played out as a generational curse that I just had to kind of experience and like kind of release and let go out of my being. That way I could kind of shed that mentality, that body or that skin, and then put myself in a more of a lighter state of being to come up to possibly, you know what I'm saying, keep creating my next minds and shit. But that'd be the only thing. Like you ain't getting out of your first awareness. And the whole point is, I guess, like why people's lives play out or why it should be playing out is people just be thinking and feeling too much. And then you never deal with none of those thoughts and feelings from whatever different experiences and situations and moments and stuff. And it could be shit going back to when you was a child and you was still developing your mind and as a child, and then you could have been experiencing a trauma then while you're trying to develop your mind, and then now you got this little baggage or scar tissue in the mind. You know what I'm saying? Like now you got this goddamn, you know what I'm saying? Something that's like you carrying along with you into school, into relationships, into partnerships, into businesships, into work situations, and it'd be some that go back to when you was like 3, 4, 5 years old, or even 2 years old, or even 1 year old. It goes that deep. It could be some shit you don't even really be conscious like that because you was a baby still developing your mind, but maybe you pooped your diaper that day, and you know maybe your mom or your dad didn't like wipe your butt cheek a certain way, so when they got done wiping your butt cheek and you went about, maybe you got, you know what I'm saying, you went to go crawling around after that, you felt like this annoying little itch between your butt cheeks. So then you might have started crying as a baby, like, well, you trying to like let them know, like, look, you didn't get that spot in my cheek, and that's what I'm crying about. But then they might not even know themselves, that then let alone had you, and then now they thinking, oh, you want some cereal? You know, let me go make you a bowl of some cornflakes. And then the whole time you a baby crying like, no, I'm not hungry, bitch. You didn't clean. There's like a wipe between my butt cheek. A certain, like, I just need to get that itched, but I don't want no fucking cereal. So it'd be a whole like, you just supposed to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully maybe whatever lifetime you be born into, you come out maybe you'll be Stewie Griffin, 3, 4 years old, but you a fucking genius, and then hopefully you know how to build your whole life at that point and not go build no retarded ass like time machine or something. Like shit like that. Like that's the world we in. Like, bro, we can't be giving no goddamn like niggas that make cartoons or whatever, dude, whatever narrative, bro. It has to just stay in the entertainment sphere. As soon as we start taking time machines too serious, like you could build a time machine and go back in time, and like where do we see anybody doing that? We don't see any time machine people jumping in some type of physical machine that somebody had to construct with a bunch of metals and it's like whatever you finna make as a tool or object came from nature first. So it's like whatever your mind is doing, like whatever your mind is doing, your body is gonna mimic that. So whatever, like your body is the metaphor to like a machine or a car, right? A vehicle. That is something that came out of your mind. not the other way around where you was born into a goddamn vehicle and you had to learn how to drive down the road at the age of 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? You didn't like, they didn't throw you as a baby in the driver's seat and say, go drive, bitch. Go drive, nigga. You know, here's a good example of what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? The little like car, little stroller thing. So like, you know, the car is a very synthetic tool. And if it's not used correctly, you could get lost and forget your legs. So I would advise that you use your legs, since that's what God made you to have legs, right? God didn't make a Toyota for you to like replace your legs with the pedals and the yeah, you still got to use your legs, bitch, in the car. So what makes you think you could like I don't understand people. Like wouldn't you want to just deal with yourself? That way you don't got to feel like you're stuck in one thing all the time, because you're not just one thing. So it's like you should have never even been limited. Like, why are you even focusing on only one part of yourself? And then you disregarding all these other parts of yourself that shit might need a positive message from you. You know what I'm saying? They might need some attention from you. They might need some development from you. They might need some encouragement from you. You might need some fire, water, air, earth, one of those elements. You might need some goddamn water in that area. You might need some fire in that area, so all the fluids in that area could like lighten up and then turn into some type of steam or some type of gas. You know what I'm saying? That way it ain't just a bunch of heavy ass swamp water or some shit. You might need to add a little fire in the mix. Yeah, lighten that shit up. Nigga burn some of that dirty ass, like set fire to some of them old ass moldy trees in the forest or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you got like a certain shrine temple that you just like let a whole bunch of vines, and it's just like it hasn't been used for however long, but it's there though. And you like, oh, I forgot. Oh shit, I almost forgot about this. It's like one of my favorite places to like go meditate or something. And you start wiping off the little cobwebs off the. You like slide you gotta like slide the little like I don't know whatever kind of entrance you got back, or maybe a bunch of spider webs. You gotta like clear the spider webs. So it's like, it's all like, you gotta use your imagination. If you ain't using your imagination, you automatically by default are listening to somebody else's imagination. And if you accept those thoughts and feelings, you got taken over. You got UFO'd. So I'm not saying to stop what you're doing. You could have a job, you could have clothes, you could do all this shit in the objective world. But if you ain't got no meaning and reasonings to tie these objects with the subject, then you know what I'm saying? You could either be lost in your subjectivity bias or your objective bias. And both are not separate things. They're both one and the same thing. So at the end of the day, you're just gonna be lost in your bias, but being split between whether you want to suit the body or suit your mind, which is just the first body. And your body, your physical, this body wasn't just here laying around, and then you fucking fell out the goddamn sky like a Alien versus Predator movie, and then jumped in. Like now you gonna go jump into a body. Now you a daywalker type of cat. Like with that reverse way of thinking, you think a body was just already. You know what I'm saying? Like you a goddamn Westworld. You like you into animatronics at that point where you must be somewhere building robots or something where you got this robot, and then you think you gonna try to trap. You know what I'm saying? Summon/trap some spirit in that fucking robot. Like that don't happen, dude. That's where y'all be missing the point, bro. They think they could really bring some like Futurama Bender character, some like Bender character that could drink alcohol. You ain't never gonna see a robot drink beer, dude. You ain't never gonna see a robot have interactions with a woman, dude. So like y'all be, I don't know, like y'all be trying to create, like that's what they did. Like they kind of fake created like some necromancy world where everybody just be like, I guess, puppet bodies, and their god is the only thing that matters each day, springtime, their spring, and then all they do is, I guess they were supposed to just, for the sake of their company and their business, they was just springing out ideas and shit. And then all these thoughts and feelings that they just pushed out into the world, I guess they didn't give a fuck because they was just trying to make some George Washingtons. And then all those thoughts and feelings and shit are still out here lingering, and then they got a whole world of darkness that they got to deal with still, like wherever they at. The people that are playing God, they still got to deal with themselves. Y'all cats, or whoever watch it too, y'all, like people in the chat and shit, like I turned my comments off, yet there's still comments. Somehow there's still comments. I'm just gonna end it on that though. Like somewhere down the line, early on in my life, I didn't have my father and my madam together and shit. So I was living more with my madam side of life, and then as soon as I kind of started experiencing that kind of the fallout of that expiration date, that's when I like really had to step into my own self for real. So somewhere down the line, I am letting Jesus take the wheel or something, or letting the government be the goddamn government, or you know what I'm saying? Somewhere in my mind, just for me to even be born into a situation where I had one parent taking care of me, I was lost in one idea or one part of myself or whatever spiritually, right? Or I got too into a certain mentality, right? That could have been weed or something. Or trees. Maybe I was too much into tree energy. And trees, if you know what trees are outside, the trees don't move. For the good or for the bad. For positive reasons, if you trying to be stable and stability, this, that, they're okay, cool. But if there's a time ever where you need to move, you don't want to be too rooted into something. Because then your ass ain't going to be able to move. Like that tree, you got to just be there. And if a tree can't move like that, shit, and if a tree is in a world with other things like wind, or atmosphere and environment, there's rain and shit, that tree is going to eventually corrode or wear and tear down the line, or maybe somebody gonna cut it down, bulldozer it, et cetera, right? All different types of possibilities to that. But ultimately, what the ability is being expressed is that tree is like, nigga, I ain't going nowhere. So I got that. I know I got that ability because motherfuckers state was trying to get me out of the motherfuckers was stay trying to like be some guy that think they could direct me out the equation. And I'll be looking in the mirror, and I tell them people too, like look, you ain't going nowhere. I don't know what I'm thinking, but you is not going nowhere anytime soon. And I told this to multiple people and stuff, and they know I was more convinced. So I bet you somewhere in a lot of people's minds throughout the years, whether they consciously aware of it today, there's a memory of me somewhere in their subconscious mind, or they thinking about me somewhere. Even if it was for a split moment, like where I was like, look, dude, you could kick me out the store, but you ain't going nowhere. Like, you're not God. You're not getting rid of me. Even if you did point a gun bullet and aim it at me and then somehow, you know what I'm saying, you like powered off my body or like projected some projectile that my body might have caught it, or you know what I'm saying? No, dude, like you can never kill me, dude. Even if you thought you killed me, dude. I do that. So that's what I'm playing out right now. Before you even continue into certain ways of thinking, you gotta really check yourself and look at yourself like, okay, did I already do this? Do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to add on more to that timeline? You know what I'm saying? Because there'll be moments where you have little fork in the road moments where you could go here, you know what I'm saying? So it's like God would give you these moments where it's like you could make the same decision you made, or you could try to go a new path. And sometimes they look similar, right? Sometimes it's kind of hard to distinguish that. You know what I'm saying? So in my example, like maybe there was times where I was like talking to myself, like I need to stop smoking weed or something or chill out, and then I wouldn't listen. That was still the experience that I needed to have for myself to now maybe look at myself like, okay, I'm either gonna just stop telling myself that, or I gotta really be serious about that. You know what I'm saying? Like I either gotta just know myself, like, all right, I know I'm a smoker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I like to smoke my trees. So just me knowing that, you make up your mind, like, okay, and then maybe then you might come up with better ways of going about that. Like, if you in some conflicting thing, like, oh, I want to smoke today, but then, oh, well, I don't want to smoke today because of this or that. Now you fighting God and yourself, and God ain't gonna help you. But if you make up your mind, like, I'm buying this, and this is the meaning, this is why this object, and you know what I'm saying, this and that matches with this part of myself. Boom, you good to go. Like, God, make sure you always have that, because you made up your mind. You ain't confused about nothing. You're like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, if I get trees for this part, okay, and then maybe you break it down a certain way. Like, okay, you know what? Let me come up with a plan. Like, anytime I get an ounce of trees, for example, I'm gonna at least put 3, like, you know what I'm saying, a certain percentage level of that to the side, at least, and don't touch it. You know what I'm saying? Just don't even touch it. Just let it accumulate. You know what I'm saying? And then the next time you get some money or a paycheck, put that to the side. Don't touch it. Get another paycheck. Put some of it to the side. Don't touch it. Keep doing that. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, then you start putting a smile on kids' faces and stuff. Now we're going somewhere more positive in the world. People like, you know what I'm saying? It's like maybe you was just starting saying some shit nobody wanted to listen to in the past. When you start talking like this, now it's like, it's more relatable, bro. It's not just you and your own ego and your own life and you being a victim about some shit. It's like you could take accountability. You could be responsible yourself. And then when you do that, God's like, yes, finally, I don't even got enough of those pilot captain type of captains of the ships. I need more of them cats, but okay, yes. And then God might just give you everything that you ever dreamed of, as long as you keep doing that core fundamental, what it is that makes you and the energy you embody. Not you trying to go work at Burger King, for example, knowing that you know you don't want to work at Burger King. Nothing wrong with Burger King or a job or nothing. I'm just making a point. Like, there'd be a lot of times where you don't make up your mind a certain way. So you just go into situations blind, pretty much, reacting to shit. Then after the words, you know what I'm saying? You like looking back like, damn, bro, I might have fucked up, or I made a mistake, or I don't even think it feel like that no more, and shit. And then you can kind of like go through all those ins and outs, look at yourself like, oh, okay, I know why I was in this certain color too much. Maybe I was too blue or something. Like, now I'm in this situation out here. At some point in my life, I was blue. That's not for me to get out here and take it personal every time niggas ask, hey man, you got beans? Hey man, you got some blues? That's not for me to get upset. I gotta really like, don't even pick a side. Look at myself like, okay, somewhere I'm doing something similar that this cat is doing. Yeah, he asking me for something synthetic. That's not for me to point the finger at, like, look down on dude, like, that's not for me to look down on dude. That's for me to look at myself like, somewhere I'm a fiend for the blue energy or the blue color, and I need to address that. That's the only reason why I'm even in this situation. So it's more like that, like, thank you, this is exactly what I asked for. And then the more you could like get into those, developing those kind of muscles and mental, doing the mental weights and shit, then it become more easier. Then you get in situations that might have been hard before, but you've been developing yourself. Now a situation that used to be hard ain't even so hard anymore. You probably be like, why did I even think that was hard to begin with? Like, I'm doing it, bro. There was days like 10, 15, 20 years ago, I was terrified to talk. I didn't want to talk to anybody. So that's where I was at in my own mind. I didn't want to talk to myself. I was like, yeah, I'm saying I was being like lazy or something. Like I wasn't talking to myself, or I didn't know how to talk to myself. So I actually did the correct thing. I kept my mouth shut a lot of times because I already knew. I'm like, you know what? I can say something right now, but I don't have the know-how of what I want to say. So let me just shut my mouth, so I don't say the wrong thing and then embarrass myself or look stupid or come across a certain way and then I look unrelatable to myself and others. But you know what I'm saying? It's not even about no other body else. It's about, nigga, is you relatable with yourself? Because you the only one that gonna think and feel something. If niggas start roasting you in the session, you gonna be the only one to start thinking and feeling something. Especially if they all like haha roasted you, you gonna be the only one catching all the goddamn. You gonna be inside yourself getting flamed. So it's like, don't even put yourself in that situation to get roasted. Like, roast yourself now. That way you go out into reality, into life, and you don't gotta worry about playing catch up in the moment. You already be prepared. You could show up and just be you. You don't gotta think too hard or nothing. And it probably goes more smoothly. You know what I'm saying? You probably feel better and then even make other people feel better and maybe put a smile on somebody's face. Instead of being in a negative space and then you come around, nobody even want to be around you. Or people look at you and you got like this depressing energy and stuff. You gonna make other people feel depressed, and they might be trying to keep themselves in a certain kind of a certain type of maintenance where they trying to maintain something. So it's not fair for you to come through and be like this big old tsunami, tidal wave, monsoon storm, and then shit. They wasn't even like, well, that would be where they be wrong, where they need to be open to more all pot. But you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be equal like for you to come through, and it's not like right for you to come through and drench everybody up. And then especially if you know, like, you showing up somewhere, you know niggas don't even got the clothing for that. You know that like you in the desert lands. You can't come out here and just drench people. You know what I'm saying? And you might waste a whole bunch of water doing so, trying to like, who is you drenching? A bunch of fossils and a bunch of like skeletons? Yeah, that's like, who's you like leaking all this water and emotions to? Like the desert? Like just. So I'm just giving y'all like context of like why you might even be in a situation. All right, that's it. I'm done. So this was me looking at myself, taking accountability. Like, all right, I was born with this type of situation, circumstances, parents, family dynamic, thoughts and feelings that my body, whatever, right? Having a certain, like, people be having a certain type of body. A lot of people don't even like who they are. Okay, you're not gonna go buy that shit in Walmart, nigga. Go deal with yourself in the mirror and maybe try to put yourself in a better image. That way your physical character, people not even looking at your physicalities. You know what I'm saying? They be paying attention more to your mind, your mental state. And that's more important than how you look or whether you got on the latest Dior, the latest whatever, nigga. And I mean, that shit might matter to the people that matters to, right? That matches that is that's somebody's spirituality or whatever. You know, that shit might matter, like Louis Vuitton or something. Like that Louis Vuitton belt is spiritual to somebody, right? But that's not for you to get lost and oh, I need to go buy a Louis Vuitton belt so I can get this kind of like attention or get this kind of validation. It's not about and you can go buy the Louis belt for the wrong reasons, and then don't even, maybe go through those experiences where people validate the Louis belt, but then you don't even feel good about yourself. You know what I mean? Like all that energy went to the belt, and if it's just an object around your waist, don't let all that energy just go to your waist. Now you got people muffin waistlines and shit because they wanted a Louis belt, like metaphorically. Like, you know, not even talking about actual belt. I'm talking about like just spiritual shit. Like, bitch, if you went and got your, you thought I was like, oh, I need to go get that Louis belt from Louis Vuitton or whatever. Then you go spiritually go pay some attention to Louis Vuitton, and then shit, and then you went and got you a Louis belt, right? Now 3D, that might just be you playing out like on your phone or something, you scrolling. You know what I'm saying? And then like maybe you come across something that like you shouldn't really compromise with, but you go ahead and watch that video or something, like that ain't really something you want to even bend over for, but you do it, right? But you like, you know what, let me watch this something right now, and then that shit might have you leave you folding over. Like now you just like, you might just be sitting down scrolling like this for hours and stuff. Like your body, like you might have been sitting up straight, and then at some point your body started to bend in on. Now you like hunched over like this, sitting down, looking at your phone and shit. That could just be that. Now you got hip problems or something. Like now your hip areas are compromised. You wanted to go buy that esoteric Louis belt and shit, think you was gonna get some validation, and then you might have been people like, hey, look, he's got a Louis belt, or you might have got some eyes and attention, but it might not even have been what you thought it would. Maybe you had an expectation, you know what I'm saying? But they say all that energy go to the Louis belt, and then you as a spirit be like still feeling like unfulfilled and shit, unsatisfied. Then you might think you need 2 Louis belts. You might go buy another one, a different color or some shit, and then you might get the same reactions from other parties or whatever. But then you might be even more unfulfilled the second time. So that's where God be trying to show you, like, look, child, it's not about the Louis belt. If you go buy a third Louis belt, I'm gonna have to BTA. I'm gonna have to put BTA. I'm gonna have to put belt to ass if you go buy a third Louis belt after me trying to show you like the first 2 Louis belts didn't fulfill you like that. So why are you gonna go try to buy a third Louis belt knowing that the first 2 didn't really fulfill you like that? BTA, then you gotta start. Oh, you want a Louis belt? Yeah, start getting BTA. But that's it. Yeah, don't drive your spirit into a final destination experience where you end up roller coastering off the tracks, and now God give you a BTA belt to ass session. Don't go down in that. Don't do the negative final destination. Do the positive final destination movie where you constantly in the process. You always like you stay on the roller coaster, but it constantly just keeps getting better. You never really finish. There ain't no like, this is it, this is the final, but it's like you at least know you be on the right roller coaster tracks. You know what I'm saying? Going through the more positive roller coaster experience instead of the negative one. Where the negative one might result in you going off the tracks, you might throw up midair, you might crash out while you in the, you know what I'm saying, that car track is in the air, finna go crash out and hit the ground. Y'all niggas is crashing out before you hit the crash out, the most condensed crash out. And all y'all like, what's going on? We're not gonna make it. Niggas was already crashing out before the roller coaster ride even started. They was getting in the cars and stuff. Oh my God, we're gonna die. Oh my God. Didn't even happen yet. They already expecting how the roller coaster is gonna go. You know what I'm saying? And another group get into a similar car. They're like, okay, they're all chippy and positive about it. Then they go have the more promising experience, right? Where they ain't confused about that. So they all like in the cart together, about 5 group of them. They all know they seat in the car, and ain't nobody trying to like elbow and do too many like, you know what I'm saying? Because it'd be cramped a little bit. It'd be kind of tight in those little cars and stuff. But ain't nobody like fighting for arm space or nothing. Like everybody got their right seat. Everybody got the right weight. Everybody in the right, you know what I'm saying? Right angle and the right seat. It ain't gonna be like everybody know too. Like there might be a certain turn or this, then, a third. We all need to be like proportioned the right way. We got to be balanced. You know what I'm saying? Any imbalances in the car track, that's what caused the final destination wreckage, where niggas is going off the track because maybe they had one cat that was like 200 pounds too heavy in this seat over here, and then maybe there was somebody that was like, you know what I'm saying, like 50 pounds over here in this seat, but it was like an imbalance, right? So the car wasn't on the track even, and then it go around a certain turn or something, and then the car go off track because you got all this weight already over here. Y'all don't know how to think, bro. But shout out to everybody. Hopefully we're gonna get everybody up to speed. Hopefully y'all start knowing how to think, not what you're thinking about, but how you go about using the thinking ability. Trust me, I can sit around here all day and think about a whole bunch of miscellaneous shit. Guess what? I already did that. Guess what? That shit damn near drove me crazy. Guess what? I realized, you know what? I can't even pay attention to that many thoughts and feelings like that anymore, because I know where it led before in the previous times. It led to me having too many damn thoughts and feelings on my head, and then me having to deal with all that shit in my own world, in my own self, with nobody else around. And I'm like, oh no, I ain't trying to have like a bunch of like military Call of Duty missions and shit, and oh yeah, a whole bunch of, I ain't trying to like Call of Duty, you know what I'm saying, and got killed 10 times in the team deathmatch, and now you going to school with that energy as if you didn't just get like died 10 times last night before you showed up the next day at school. Like you didn't jump on the Call of Duty game before going to school. Now your whole day was in the mind frame of a free-for-all, for example. So it's not about like running away from these things. It's about you got to be real honest with yourself. Otherwise you ain't shit as a spirit. Yeah, otherwise you ain't shit. You just gonna keep lying to yourself, and don't let yourself lie in the next lifetime. You might not have no comprehension ability to be wise enough to realize you lying in some way, shape, or form, to the point you might need to create the craziest type of situations that spirits can experience, and you don't need to go through all those hells and stuff. You don't even need to it don't even need to get that heavy. You can easily do something right now, like, hey, maybe I just need to change the way I'm thinking about how I'm pushing this stroller, for example. It might not be the stroller itself, it might be how are you pushing the stroller? And could you possibly push the stroller in a more relatable way that everybody could relate to that, how you did it a certain way, that everybody could maybe feel better about the stroller experience, instead of the stroller being just the what, and then all the focus is now on the damn stroller. Now all of a sudden your kids in the stroller don't matter, the guy next to you don't matter, and the two girls don't matter. The stroller became the object of importance, and everybody that was apparently alive is no longer. Now the stroller just absorbed, just black darkness, so the stroller just pulled them in to make that decision. The kids was like, the kids are probably looking around like they don't even know they're in a stroller or what a stroller is. The parents is like, yeah, y'all get what I'm saying? Don't get lost in the stroller. Be the goddamn, be the pilot of the stroller. If you think you're a pilot right now, piloting the stroller, but the stroller is black and you also are wearing a black outfit, you are in the stroller also. You just are pushing yourself around, and you think it's those kids or whatever, the beings in the stroller, and then those beings got to look at themselves a certain way, like, why are they even in the stroller? And maybe they might look around and see people standing. They might go a whole through conflict of like, why they even in a stroller as kids? And maybe, you know what I'm saying, then that'd be a whole fight between the kids and the parents. Like, the kids want to just walk and start maybe learning using their legs and shit, or have the freedom to move around, right? But the parents might not want to let the kid move around like that, because shit, they might want to like start running away or some shit, right? So it's not about you being the parent or you're supposed to be the more adult. It's not about you being like afraid, like, oh, I don't want my children to grow up. and be adults. No, it's not about like stumping your child growth, and it's not about like giving them too much like growth like vitamins and supplements. You ain't supposed to like give them the crazy. Yeah, you ain't supposed to just let your garden just run free and rampant. Now your whole garden just like got vines here. You got cherry trees growing apples and shit. You're not supposed to have that in your garden. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be having cherry tree. You know that was a cherry tree, but then it ended up producing some whole other fruits. Like wait. It might look like cherries, but when you bite into it, like, this is not a cherry. It looks like a cherry. I know I planted a cherry seed, but why does this taste like a blackberry or something? Like, why does this taste like a plum? I don't remember. And then somewhere that's like, if you're a weed farmer, you know, goddamn, certain plants like male or female. You don't want your male. You don't want to like have no male plants in the mix, because then they gon' goddamn spread their seed or whatever. And then the female plants that might catch that pollen from the masculine plants. Now your female plants are hermaphrodites, because then they start producing like little nodes and shit, little, like, you know what I'm saying, things that they mutated. Now they mutated because they received something from the masculine plants, where if you would have just had the female plants in your grow room, shit would have been cool. You know what I'm saying? Your female plants would grow, and then they'd produce nugs, and then you could keep that cycle going. But if you let the certain plant that don't even need to be around, and then that pollen from that plant get on your other plants, is what I'm expressing, that could fuck up your already pre-existing plans in some kind of way. All right, but I'm done. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. Shout out to everybody, and hope somebody out there, I hope this helps you get a better perspective of how to look at your own mind in some way, shape, or form.